Welcome back, everybody, to Lucky Top. Joined by a full crew here: Andrew, Josh, Michigan Man, and the Iceman. We're going to be talking mostly college football today. We're going to be going over our picks from last week. Talk about Tennessee's huge win over NC State. What's to come? Some of the things we've seen in the rankings. Outline some of the biggest games, biggest winners and losers from last week, and just give you our best bets and a bit of gambling advice today. But let's start with Tennessee. We smoked NC State. Things are going well at Rocky Top. Josh, why don't you get us started with your thoughts on the game? What stood out for you? What did you see from the Vols?
I think it was kind of like Eric Green, everybody's favorite coach of, they are who we thought they were kind of thing. Famous coach for the Arizona Cardinals. That resonated with me, I think, the whole time I watched the game. But living in North Carolina, I got a lot of people here that like the Wolfpack, especially the proximity I live to Raleigh. So, they were very confident going in. And I saw a lot of folks, saying that Tennessee was going to struggle against them. Obviously didn't see that. We saw Nico. I think he came out and he gave us a pretty solid performance. I don't think it was the performance that I think we were all ready to see. I don't think he necessarily did anything to hurt us in the game. Obviously, I mean, we hung a 50 burger. He had the one pick six that wasn't really his fault. Bad protection there on the right side of the offensive line, and then he tried to force one over the middle to Brew McCoy there earlier in the first half that kind of didn't go our way. But overall, I mean, he did really well as far as when the play broke down, he was able to improvise. I think that's one thing that we can really take away from his skill set is that he's going to be that. He's going to be someone that can improvise, use his feet to score or get the first down when he needs to. I would like to see him kind of take a little bit off of the, oh shit, this isn't working, I'm going to run and take a big hit. There were some times that he took some licks and I was just like, man, we can't have those type of hits on our quarterback. But the thing I think that really stuck out to me the most on the offensive side was the play of, old Six there in the backfield. He did a great job. He's really been, showcasing his skills, the first couple of games this year. And, our running backs overall, I think, have done a really good job. Didn't see a lot of Cam Seldon out there. Hopefully he'll shake back against Kent State, but yeah, man, backfield's looking good. Defensively, they just swallowed everything up that NC State did. You heard all this stuff about McCall this, McCall that. They better McCall another quarterback in that motherfucker because he ain't getting the job done for him. And, it was really sad to see the coping mechanisms that kind of came out of that game for NC State fans. That kind of felt like, the last 15 years of Tennessee football. There's just so many reasons that coaches put people in the right position, but they didn't execute. Like we've all heard those same tired excuses from our own fans when talking about, big time abysmal losses. But, you look at it, Josh Josephs played a great game. Tyree West played a great game on the defensive front. James Pierce Jr. as well. Secondary, our boy Will Brooks, walk on with the pick six early, kind of changed the narrative of the game. Because, you had NC State drive in there. They had the potential to tie it there at 10. And then McCall just threw it straight to him, and he took a house call all the way back. I was really surprised that it didn't get called back for blocking the back. The referee took a real long, hard look at the block that I think it was James Pierce that actually opened it up for him to have the clear path to the end zone. But overall, great job defensively. So if there was any question mark, so to speak, defensively, I think a lot of those were put to rest. And man, you got to really give it to Will Inge. our linebacker play without, with the exception of the one time Keenan Peely laid that guy out way after the play, got a personal foul, had to go cool off a little bit. But I got to take my hat off to Will Lynch. Will Lynch used to be the linebackers coach for Washington. He followed Kalen DeBoer to Alabama, and then immediately left and got hired by Tennessee. I don't even know if he signed in or actually showed up to work at Bama with Kellen DeBoer. It was just so quick right after the national championship game. But he's been a great addition to the defensive staff there at Tennessee, and I think you can really see it from the linebacker play and the way it's been evident in the first two games. Yeah, you can say what you want about Chattanooga in week one, but you're playing against a top 25 team, and you went out there and you on a national stage, and you kind of presented yourself as a dominant defense, one that we've not seen in a very long time at Tennessee. And there was definitely a soundbite from Josh Heupel. I'll close with this about a lot of things are made after Tennessee games about the offense, but he had that soundbite in the press conference that said, our goal at Tennessee is to play elite defense. This is the house of Reggie White. This is the house of Al Wilson. This is the house of Eric Berry. And when you come to Tennessee, there's an expectation that you play as such. So, love to hear that from the head ball coach, and just love the overall performance of Tennessee against NC State. So, Andrew, I'll toss it to you, man. What's your takeaways from what you saw of that drubbing of the Wolfpack?
Yes. So I went to the Tennessee bar up in New York City, Printers Alley. It got pretty crowded. It wasn't as crowded as the Alabama or Georgia games, but it did end up getting pretty packed. Obviously, I think it helped that it was a night game, so it's kind of the crowd started to gather around 7 o'clock or so, and by kickoff it was full, although it wasn't elbow to elbow. As for the win, I still am not sure if Tennessee is like a truly like a top 5, top 3 team yet. I mean, I guess the rankings kind of reflect that, but on when we're kind of comparing, I feel like there's Georgia, Texas, and then everybody else so far, at least based on the small sample size of games that we've seen so far. It's to be seen if Tennessee's right after those two teams. Certainly, it doesn't look like Bama or any other team is playing better. But then again, it's kind of hard to see like how good are they? They played Chattanooga, and now NC State. Granted,
Sure.
NC State was
and
ranked.
Not to disagree with you, but I would say that a lot of that probably came from, and we'll get into this a little bit later, but the folks like Notre Dame losing to NIU.
Right.
I think it had less to do with Tennessee. I mean, it was a great performance against NC State. Don't get me wrong. I think it's less to do with Tennessee. Voters thinking they're a top 10 team right now based off their body of work versus so many upsets early on in week 1 and week 2.
Yeah, and so even thinking about that, like I wasn't really impressed with NC State. The prior week, they were struggling. For the most of their game until basically the fourth quarter. Obviously, football is game of all 4 quarters, but still, the fact that they couldn't really move the ball against the inferior opponent kind of made it feel like they shouldn't have even been ranked to begin with. But I think it was a little bit of that ESPN special, just knowing that Texas and Michigan was gonna be the first game, big noon, that gets the viewers, the ranked versus ranked matchup, and then Tennessee versus NC State was the only other ranked matchup of the night, so or of the day. So I think there was a little bit of a keeping the NC State within 25 just to keep the ratings up. If I'm putting my Roman goggles on and go the conspiracy theorist angle a little bit. But then that being said, still, like I don't think NC State is that terrible. They're probably like a top 30, top 40 team in America. So that being said, just that standout performance, certainly good to see. Not only on offense, I would agree with you that offense actually wasn't as like dynamic and great as we all expected, but the fact that the defense just kind of came to play. They were combined 0-15 on third and fourth downs, 0-2 on fourth down, 3
0 and
for
13
12
on third.
third. So that's a very stout, like only allowing 25% of the third downs, and all of that came on the first drive, really.
Yeah, I was about to say it took them 7 plays to get to the 50-yard line, and then I think that was 27 yards. I mean, we're talking about the stats here. I mean, I think they only had 26 total yards in the second half.
Yeah,
I mean, that's insane.
play,
that's insane.
First drive, it felt like that was their sort of the pre-prepared. Like they had a sort of a playbook ready to go.
Yeah, they're scripted plays. Yeah,
right. And then, but once the dust settled, obviously we left them in the rearview mirror. So overall, great. I'm gonna pass it off to Naveen now to kind of talk about the ranking. Speaking of the rankings, and as you guys can see down here in the banners, Tennessee is now ranked number 7. So Naveen, why don't you sort of walk us through what you see in the rankings? Who's the biggest surprise? Who's the biggest dropper, and your thoughts.
Yeah. So as you see, we got it on the screen: Georgia number 1, Texas number 2, then a whole pack of people, an ad, and then Tennessee. I think they threw the ad in.
Associated Press needs to, gym up their website here, right?
So you can see we jumped up 7 spots, and it was a commanding win. I think a huge drop came from
Notre Dame.
Obviously, Notre Dame, Michigan. Yep. And we really didn't see as much movement elsewhere.
Whoa. We did see some movement.
Look at Oregon, too.
We did see some movement. I want you to scroll down real quick. We got a special guy on here tonight. I think it's 24. Yeah, or 23, excuse me. See there?
Nebraska.
The fighting Coach Osborne's there.
Colorado had an off week. They're gonna have
Coach Subprime showed up.
Subprime showed up. Frank the Iceman himself came on and pontificated to our entire cast here, and then all the viewers that watch us out there in the metaverse or YouTubes, that Colorado was going to start off 4-0. And man, that clearly didn't happen. And how's that crow tasting down there, Iceman?
3-1's not bad. That's the overcorrection. Nebraska's better than I thought they would be. Nebraska's a lot better than I thought.
Why? Because they have that lookalike Pat Mahomes quarterback?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I didn't expect them to be good this year. I thought it was going to be that year.
Don't expect Nebraska to be good, but you expect fucking Colorado to go 4-0. That's rich. All right, Naveen, go ahead, man.
Yeah, I mean, I think main thing we can take away from this is some of the shit teams are just filtering out, and it's happening quicker than we thought it would.
We're in the shit picks.
Right? We went from 16 to 14 to 7.
Yeah.
Give us 3 more weeks, we'll be top 3.
5.
Yeah.
Or top 3. Yeah, you're not wrong.
Well, there's one team there that stands out to me, and the top 10 is Oregon. I don't think Oregon's going to be even in the top 25 at the end of the year.
I think they're cheeks, man.
They look rough, man.
I don't know how they won. Yeah, I think it's their O-line, honestly. That's what seems like a glaring issue to me. And
we're back to the O-line conversation.
Yeah. It's college football.
Speaking of O-line,
that's what I do now. I mean, just look up the O-line. That's all I need to know.
Speaking of O-lines, Roman, talk to me about Colorado's O-line.
Well, Colorado. I mean, I missed an opportunity of a lifetime last week to back my my idol, really, Stephen A. Smith, right? When he went after
not Stephen A.
Yeah, because Stephen A. came out there and pointed out a glaring fact that Coach Prime is not only a sham, is also a pussy. Because, right, if you guys remember last week, right, they banned the Colorado beat writer from asking any spicy questions to Coach Prime,
here to
right?
tell you right now, we don't care.
Tell me right now.
We don't care.
So I love Steven. So, but look, if you're gonna be showboating, if you're gonna be, I mean, can we just zoom in on Frank, because he is doing his best Stephen A. impersonation right now. When people rightfully come after you, people who are from Colorado, people who care about that program, and you're just gonna run behind, your mama and just, say, "Oh no, don't ask me these questions. Don't make me look silly." Like, at least be a man, right? And that's what happened, right? He was not a man in the press conference. He's not a man on the field. And again, I absolutely love going into the stats and just seeing like 140 passer rating for his son, and them losing by 3 touchdowns.
It's awesome.
It is the most awesome thing to see, and it just comes to show that what Coach Prime is doing, which is, I think, for any football fan, for a fan of Colorado, like people that actually, feel for the team, that's just awful. This guy comes in there and is just using your program to get his son a higher draft pick. Just put him up there into the NFL by completely padding his stats, and everything is going that offense. That team is not there to win any games. I think that they're probably going to have an even worse season this year than last year. And I think a lot of coaches that are going to play them are going to now, I hope so. I hope they're going to go out there and make a statement, because last year it was about, going on prime time, we come in, all that bullshit, have a target on your back. There's some about that, but this year it's about embarrassing them. This year is about shutting this guy up for good. He has.
Is the prime time
no
to Florida
being there.
State? Is the prime time to Florida State conversation put to rest?
I mean, look, this guy's a grifter, right? This is what we call a true professional grifter, right? And so wherever the grift is going to come, is gonna go and grift, right? It's just what he's gonna do. So he just managed. What does he have to do with Colorado? Just because he looks good in a hat and the fucking sunglasses. Frank looks good in the hat and sunglasses. Look at him now.
Maybe I can coach Colorado.
Maybe you can go coach Colorado, right? I mean, he's gonna look good in whatever, like, Florida State you're gonna work. But the guys, I mean, look, I give him props, right? He's like the NCAA version of LeVar Ball. Like, I'm gonna do all this crazy shit and get my children noticed and put my son in the NFL. We'll see how that pans out.
Do you think he's doing his sons any favors? I mean, one of them's in a fucking sling right now, and the other one looks like a clown because the way that he goes about showcasing them, man. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of the way that he kind of does that, but I'm not Deion, and those are not my kids. But that's just, as a father, that's just not the way I'd handle it.
I mean, I don't know. It's a hard question to ask. It probably is something that maybe on a bigger scale we have to ask, because we see that not just here.
Well, no, you see it with LeBron James too. So I just feel like I would rather have, I want my kids to earn it off their own merit and not some type of weird,
clout. Clout chasing.
That's. I mean, I'll tell you.
It's just nepotism.
He's going to be it
really is.
It is nepotism. But I
would say he's a quarterback for the Jets in like 2 years from now. Sanders, you watch. Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers when they retire Aaron Rodgers next year, it might be a good idea.
I think
Aaron's retiring this year.
Jets. Let's go.
You cannot shit on the Jets all night yesterday and then say that the Jets are gonna have Sanders, because Jets are gonna have a higher draft pick. Like if as much as you shit on them, right? Like unless you think like Sanders,
but he's not going first
round.
Like that's the thing. Shedeur Sanders is not a first round quarterback.
No, he's not even a 5th round.
He's the back end of the draft, and the Jets pick him up, and he ends up being the starter.
He might be an unrestricted free agent. We don't
know.
Take a flyer.
We don't know how we don't know how corrupt that thing is going to become. Right? We're looking in the future, but there are things like there's whole discussion about this. I was in the gym and I saw this, on TV, and I saw these. I don't know if it was ESPN or who it was, right? But this is what they were saying about LeBron. It's like LeBron deserves this. Like LeBron has done enough for the NBA and for the Lakers to do this. And they were like legitimately with a straight face saying that that's what it is, right? And I think you could even get that argument, you could be like, okay, but that's the same argument as like a husband who makes a lot of money just comes home and beats his wife. It's like, yeah, I make a lot of money. I get to slap you around, right? It's like, is that an argument you're gonna buy? So we have to see, right? Like that's kind of what's playing out with the Lakers. We have to see what plays out with the NFL. I mean, to me, it feels like the NFL owners and just the NFL organizations, they're a bit above that because they're all in their own shit, like a little bit too fucked up anyway. So like maybe they're not gonna stoop down to that level of like, we're gonna like be promoters for these two guys, but who knows, right? We're talking about private equity owning.
I want to add on to that point, Roman, because basically, if you look at the post-game pressers, he was basically shitting on his O-line, shitting on his running back, and if you're an NFL owner, do you want that type of guy leading your organization? I don't think so. So I mean, it's even more egocentrical than that. Like
that's just like a feckless little prick that would go up there and say some shit about your teammates like that. There's a lot of truth in the old saying, you praise in public and you ridicule in private.
Yeah. Did you guys know that Deion tried to ban the Colorado band from playing their fight song
and rap song?
And played Shedeur's rap song for every TD. That's what they're doing now.
That's stupid.
Frank, take off that hat now.
Could you imagine?
You're not standing for this shit anymore.
Imagine no luck.
I don't know about this, but this is.
Could you imagine that? No more Rocky Top. Play
single.
Yeah, Nico's fucking bars. Like never happening.
Well, I'll tell you with
Colorado, the program.
With Colorado, I'll tell you, like they play with confidence, they win. When they get down early, they like pack it in. Like they pack it.
Why do you think that is?
It's just the immaturity of the team.
Where do you think that comes from?
I mean, I know the answer to that, but it's the coach.
It comes from the game plan.
No. So when I played football, and I'm sure other people can relate to this. We would get an old saying when we'd play certain teams that didn't have the D word, discipline. That if you jump on them quick and early, they're gonna quit.
Yeah,
and that's exactly what Colorado does all the time because that's what they lack, and they'll start fighting amongst themselves before they start even wanting to hit us. Right. And that we see that play out. That's evident every single time they take the field. And it really is just an embarrassment to the game of football, honestly. I
mean, you're going to see it against Colorado this week, too, because that's who they're playing. Like last year, there was a fight in the game.
Yeah.
Colorado State.
Yeah,
that's who they're playing this week.
Let's talk about that game.
It makes for good TV at the end of the day.
Colorado -7.
Watch the game.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
Colorado
definitely
-7. That's interesting, right? I mean, but that's interesting, right? They lost that game last year.
It was like the double or triple overtime game or something, and there was a big fight in the game. Colorado State. So I mean, it's going to be one of those games. I don't think it's going to be like a Colorado pack it in game. It's going to be a tighter game. A lot of points scored, most likely, and one of those big fights at the end or something.
Andy, let me get your take, man. Let me get Andy's take.
I'm adding Colorado State.
On the Colorado State debacle. Go ahead, Andy.
I don't really have anything further to add. I'll just echo you guys and say, it's as a purist, it's a terrible shame that they're doing away with the band. I feel like that's really like what makes the college football special and distinct from NFL game day environment. Just hearing that band come through, seeing that, and then you know NFL or even NBA, right? We go to these stadiums and they just play a bunch of songs on the speakers. I don't know. There's whereas like you go to college games and there's the same fight song that the band's been playing for hundreds of years, and I think that's what makes college football special. So it's kind of a shame that Deion Sanders is allowing that to happen. And it's, I guess, like Colorado athletic director doesn't really give a shit because he knows that any press is bad press, taking a page out of Trump's book, right? And any attention ultimately equals to dollar signs. And I think as a businessman, that's probably the right decision, but I think in a long run, it's probably gonna hurt them, especially when inevitably Deion Sanders quits after his son graduates or he gets fired. I don't know which one's gonna be first. Based on Roman's predictions, it looks like the firing will come before they complete a full season. But either way, it's a shame to the college football environment for sure.
I think the fans will turn. I mean, that's just you look at.
I think they already have.
But they're gonna. I think they're gonna turn to the point where we might see like legitimate tension. Like students I don't know, protesting games or starting riots around games, right? Where I mean, we've all been to Colorado, right? I mean, pretty sure, right? Deion Sanders, like, it's not your Colorado guy. Like, you go to Colorado, that's just not your vibe. Like, he doesn't like sort of represent, like the people of Colorado that go to those games, that love that team. This isn't it. So I think when it was shiny and new and we come in and all this attention, people bought into it. But this is the dichotomy of like the crowd, right? Like you can have the crowd behind you, but the crowd can turn on you so fast, just as they were right on you, right? Just lifting you up. As soon as you stumble, they will tear you down. And I think that's what's probably going to happen if they encounter. I mean, last year, right? Remember, this is an important thing, right? Last year, 3-0 start, 1-8 after that. Like if they go 1-8 now, right? Which is probably what it's going to be. Like, that's when I think like any coach is probably like the seat is going to start shaking underneath them. And I see the fans. I see the fans and the people that love the team saying, we don't need this BS, the showboating, just all this, clownish situation that's going on.
Well, if they lose this week, if they lose to Colorado State, there's going to be a lot of problems over there.
So let's hope for it. Let's add Colorado State. Colorado State money line.
Put Colorado State on the ticket this week, +7.
Yeah, I think so. I think that has to be our collective pick for this week. It worked out the other week, right? So this is it, in my opinion.
It worked out the other week. There you go.
All right, let's go to some of the other biggest winners and losers from last week. We talked about Tennessee so far. We we talked about the Colorado dumpster fire. So other than those two, I think there were some clear winners and losers. From my end, biggest winners, Texas, NIU, obviously conversely Nebraska, and Tennessee last week. I thought those were the best performances. Josh, can I get your thoughts about NIU stuffing down those Irish?
Yeah, man. I was actually coming back from North Carolina. I ran the Blue Ridge Relay this weekend. Shout out to my teammates, 208 miles. But one of my teammates, unfortunately, is a big-time Notre Dame fan, and he had to watch that on his phone on the way home. And I felt bad for him a little bit just because he's a good friend. But it's always a good day when Notre Dame loses. even as a resident Catholic here on Lucky Top, like I can't get behind Notre Dame, no matter how much the Catholic brethren out there love the Irish. I just can't find myself to pull for them. But I do find it, really intriguing that although it probably wrecked Notre Dame's season, somehow the college football, Illuminati went on the back end and ranked NIU number 25 this week, just because they're setting it up. If Notre Dame can win out, that loss for NIU doesn't look as bad. So I'd like to get your thoughts, guys, collectively on NIU being in the top 25. Yeah, it was a top 5 win, but I think it was more of a paper tiger than anything. But do you think there's any merit to the conspiracy theory I'm brewing up?
I think it's valid for sure. I think they want this is their year basically where they have all parts of the country kind of in the hunt for a playoff, right? It's no longer 4, it's 12, right? You got USC doing decent, Texas is back. Those type of things are all happening. So they want to prop up Notre Dame to just kind of get like the most mixed playoff they can possibly have. Previously, it was pretty SEC dominated. No matter what, it seemed like you'd have 2 SEC teams, if not more than that. But really, I think it's just funny. You pay $1.4 million to a team, and they completely fuck you. So it was pretty awesome to see. Pretty bad play from their offense, honestly. And this should not be a team that makes the top 12. And I think that they're doing what you're saying they're doing because they don't have a conference, and they want to keep them alive for that 5th spot. That's just sort of lurking there with the Boise States of the world and these non-Power 5s of the world. And they're really, really, really hoping that they can win out. Based on what I've seen, they cannot beat USC. So I think it will take care of itself kind of by the end of the season.
USC is going to do the JOB. Andy, what do you think about Marcus Freeman, man? Do you think this puts him directly on the hot seat after losing NIU?
They should put him on the hot seat. And I think, it's quite funny just kind of like watching the Notre Dame fans, going around circles and trying to defend him. Honestly, I know Josh isn't the biggest Brian Kelly fan, and neither am I, or Roman or Naveen. To my understanding, we all think he's somewhat of a underachiever and overrated as a coach. But that being said, Brian Kelly at Notre Dame have taken a shit show of a team, and in his 3rd year, he took that team to 12-0 and made the BCS championship game. I mean, he got crushed by Bama and the AJ McCarron team. But hey, still, like, that requires going 12-0 in the regular season. So Kelly's proven that at least even though he can't really win the big game, quote unquote, at least he can get there. So it's very similar to like a Mike D'Antoni or like Doc Rivers prior to the Big 3 Celtics, right? Like
or the Bills.
Yeah. What they can at least get there, and he's also taken them to the college football playoff a couple of times. I think 2018 or 2019, and then during the COVID year when they ran into Trevor Lawrence. So again, is he the type of coach that can get you across the finish line? Maybe not. To be seen. I mean, some may say his time is still to come. I mean, he went to LSU, and even though we went and beat them pretty badly in their home, he still ended up winning the SEC West, beat Saban. So there's some hope. Whereas Freeman, like, I don't know, because this guy keeps losing to teams like Marshall, Northern Illinois. You might as well say Notre Dame is the NIU Junior, the Northern Indiana University. Might as well swap the names because they're certainly a big program historically, but they're definitely not playing like it, and I don't really see anything from the coach. This is Marcus Freeman's third year,
Yep.
and 12-team playoffs. That was basically made, on a silver platter for Notre Dame. Does not have to play a conference championship game or anything like that. As long as they just win the ones they're supposed to win, and then have like a 1 or 2 competitive game against a big Power 5 team at 10-2, they were gonna make the playoffs. But continue to have this underwhelming home loss as a 29-point favorite at home. Like, that's unacceptable in my opinion. And honestly, Notre Dame's one of those teams that just always get hyped based on nothing. They haven't done shit last year either. I don't know why they were ever in top 5 to begin with. Probably because of the Notre Dame broadcasting company, NBC. always
NBC,
having
that's right.
Notre Dame's games and want to pump up the ratings. So that's kind of like how I think about it.
Yeah,
Should not even been ranked.
No, I agree, man, and I agree with your take there. I think the seat's got to be hot for him. I mean, like you said, going into year 3, I think they did him a disservice. He's a really young guy, and I think that his immaturity as a head coach really played out a lot with a lot of the time management with the clock, just game situation there. As you see, kind of the gamesmanship between NIU, who shout out to their coach, very emotional guy, but I mean he pulled out all the stops to really outmaneuver and kind of outplay. And outcoach the young guy on the other side. But Notre Dame, I think they created the standard, so to speak, for what wound up happening with Michigan and Sharon Moore. I think Marcus Freeman is the guy that was just left over after their main high profile coach left. BK going to LSU, and then you got bad Harbaugh going back to the NFL. Good Harbaugh at Baltimore. We'll talk about that a little bit later too, but you got Harbaugh burning down Michigan, and they just give it to Sharon Moore. So I think Michigan will probably be in Notre Dame's same disposition in probably a year or so. Be looking for another coach. I think Freeman and Moore both are probably bridge coaches, and both of those big time programs will be looking for a new guy.
Urban Meyer.
We already got a guy.
Yep.
I mean,
I agree.
I don't know. I think just watching
You don't know who it is, but I know.
Dude, Notre Dame's in trouble this year. They're not a good team. They basically lost to like a community college at the end of the day. Like a step up from community college football. They lost to that team, so they're not doing shit this year. But I'll tell you one team that you guys haven't mentioned that I watched a bunch of the game of. They're pretty damn impressive this year is Miami, University of Miami. I think they're a team that's going to be top 5 relatively soon.
The U, huh?
I think the U is a team that can do some damage this year. Obviously Texas too. Texas absolutely smashed Michigan. Wasn't even a
Frank, let me talk to you real quick. Hold on. Let me talk to you real quick about Miami, man. Like, they played Florida A&M in Florida, right? I mean, I'd say Florida A&M would probably beat Florida. So that's kind of where they're at. Yeah, is it? It's not the same Florida. The Gators that we saw last week against Miami are not the same Florida Gators that Urban Meyer and Steve Spurrier coach.
I don't see a tough schedule for Miami this year. Like they could run the table with their schedule.
I will tell you right now, Miami will lose to South Florida.
You think so?
Probably. Well,
spoiler alert. Miami's going to lose to South Florida.
They'll lose to somebody. They always do.
I mean, they've scored 97 points in 2 games.
Andy, tell them why they're going to lose to South Florida.
Can't hear you, Andy.
There's 2 things that I've read. One is the number 10 team this year. There's some curse going on where the teams that are ranked number 10 ended up losing. So for this past week, number 10 team was, I believe, Michigan. Hold on, let me just make sure I'm not speaking out of my ass. Check the. Yep, number 10 Michigan got smashed, and then on week 1 it was Florida State, which got smashed. So week 3, Miami is currently ranked number 10, I believe. So that kind of puts them in the hot spot. Also, it's just that like even if they win this week against Ball State, which would be very surprising if they lost, they're not gonna jump anybody ahead of them because it's not gonna be any more impressive win, beating a school like that. So assuming that they continue being ranked at number 10, playing South Florida, which we all seen, play against Bama this year as well as last year. They got the ex offensive coordinator from Tennessee there, and they're, I don't know, like Miami, honestly, I don't think their defense has been tested. I do agree with Frank. They moved the ball pretty well. So I think that game would probably be a shootout. And, again, like for ratings and with the curse and the patterns that we all love, I will probably be taking South Florida versus Miami, at least the spread. I think that's probably a lock.
It's definitely a lock. Go ahead and lock those futures.
2 weeks from now.
Andy, you did a great
It's
job.
probably gonna be 30-point spread.
I doubt it.
Yeah.
I
I mean, if Bama had a 30-point spread, I doubt Miami's gonna have a 30-point spread, right? Bama's
I think it's probably. I think it'll be around 17 and a half, 20 points.
Yeah, probably like a 20-point game.
I mean, they played nobody,
but I
nobody.
think South Florida is definitely going to be. I think
it's also a home game for South
win.
Florida. So South Florida was they were 30 and a half point dog versus Bama at Bama. So I would imagine they, at their home, I can't imagine Miami being a bigger favorite versus South Florida than Bama was at home in Bama.
Yeah.
So that alone, I think, brings it down by like a touchdown or so. Probably going to be like a 20 and a half type of bullshit spread with a hook.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man, Alex Golesh is going to be a head coach in the SEC next year. I don't know which school it's going to be. Probably going to be Florida. Hope not. Alex Golesh will be a head coach in the SEC next year. Mark it down.
All right.
Nice.
Yeah, but Miami, I think, could definitely win the vacant ACC crown because ACC just all look like garbage this year. I mean, we saw Florida State, we saw NC State,
Georgia Tech,
Clemson get
trash
wrecked by Georgia.
Yeah, man.
We saw Georgia Tech
They're
go
gonna lose to Woke Forest.
Yeah,
not Woke Forest.
Woke Forest.
There you go.
God dang.
Listen, this whole conversation became so technical. It's too much stats and all this shit. Look, this is not what college football is about. College football is not about stats. We all know that. So let me soften this up. Let me bring a little something more, a little flavor to all of this. Miami,
cut it out. Let's
go. Miami, always, year in, season out, they let you down.
Yep.
They do. They let you down. There'll be a game.
Ken Dorsey
where they're favored 25 points and they're going to lose it straight up. It's going to happen.
No,
they have this extreme cupcake schedule. I don't know if it's going to be South Florida. I don't know, but here's the thing. Any of these teams, can you imagine yourself? I don't know. Let's say you were drinking all night and Saturday, all day Saturday. You just forgot about college football. And you wake up Sunday morning and someone tells you, "Oh, holy shit, Miami lost to Virginia Tech." That wouldn't surprise you. You wouldn't be like, "Oh my god." You'd be like, "Oh, yeah, I see." That's something you can totally see. You can totally see them losing to Cal. You can totally see them losing to fucking Duke. You can see them losing to any of these teams. I mean, and what 56 points against Florida A&M? Come on.
That's very true, man. Miami's in the same tier as Notre Dame and Texas A&M. Like they're the three consistent chokers.
Syracuse, any of these teams, they're liable to lose to any of these teams. Like the problem is you just don't know when. So they might like go and then but like you said, right? This is a vacant spot for the ACC. So maybe we'll see them in the playoff, and then when they're in the playoff, then you absolutely fade the shit out of them.
40-3 against Texas, Miami. Foreshadow.
Yikes!
There
I can
we
see
go.
that.
Finally, some good analysis from Franco.
Good take.
Finally,
Texas is a great football team this year.
Look, let's go back to Texas and Michigan because I'm gonna continue.
Why? That was a drubbing.
I'm gonna continue giving the flavor here. I'm gonna take you guys to Flavor Town. I'm gonna spice this up. I think Michigan are a winner of last week, not a loser of last week. And here is why. Because I think that, first of all, the polls were a complete joke. I love Andy's take about the ratings for the TV because it was a joke. Like everybody knew Texas should be like, 1 or 2 ranked team, whatever. Michigan shouldn't have been ranked where they were. It makes no sense. None of these polls made any sense. I think going back to your guys' conversation earlier,
24-25 top 10 matchup for no reason.
Yeah, exactly. It makes no sense. But honestly, everybody I think was expecting Michigan to be truly embarrassed. That was not an embarrassing game. That was actually an okay game against a team that is a legitimate, top 3, top 4 team. Remember, this is what we talked about all the time. This stats show this. The difference between the number 1 team and the number 15 team is the same as the 15 and like 55, right? So like there's usually like Texas should beat like any other team ranked 10, 11, 12 just as bad. But I think everybody was expecting 55-3. Like that level of an ass whooping. It didn't happen. And I think all things considered, where Michigan finds themselves this season, I think we are actually in a very interesting spot to back them. Not here, because that was just a joke before, like the ranking. I think that was a great pick. I think who else had it, right? I had it. Somebody else. I mean, I think everybody was on Texas, right, in the pod, whether they were official, unofficial.
Yep.
It was a total joke, and I think maybe it has to do with the TV ratings. But now, I mean, I think we can see that Michigan is not a dysfunctional team that is just going to fall apart and become a, like a Central Michigan type, or something that's like a community college level of a team. I think they're still intact. I think the program is still there. And I think that the game was not as bad as people expected against the best team. Right? I mean, like you should have seen if Michigan was really god awful, like how people expected it to be, like, oh, the whole team left, right? Like how many things happened, right? The whole team, went to the draft, the coaching changes, and blah blah blah. There should have been a much, much worse loss. What's it? 2 scores, 3 scores?
19 points.
19 points against the best, against the best in the country potentially. 19 points.
Georgia beat Clemson 34-3. So compared to that, Georgia's number 1 team, Clemson's about top 20. If we say Michigan's about a top 20 team, that's kind of what's expected. It's just that they were hyped as a number 10 team for no reason. Hence
that
the
absolutely
spread
no
of
reason.
7.
Absolutely no reason. But that was a respectable score. And I think that actually could get, like, going back to the earlier logic you guys said, like that could get them eventually into the playoff, right? If they win out somehow. I mean, we have to see what happens with Ohio State, but if they win out, or even a 2-loss Michigan team with 2 losses coming to Ohio State and Texas, probably top 5 ranked teams, we could see them there in the playoff. We could see them, put an ass whooping onto Miami.
I mean, Michigan and Oregon are the 2 teams in the top 10 that I don't think are going to be there at the end of the year. I watched both of those teams play. They're not top 10s. They're maybe on the fringe of top 25s, but Michigan, Oregon, I would even think Oregon State might beat Oregon this week as one of the big upset spread games, like a big money line bet, because Oregon's just not impressive either. I just don't see it, I don't
Well,
see Oregon
speaking of the
being any good.
spreads, do we want to maybe jump onto the looking at the recap of the predictions from last week, and then move on to our best bets of the week?
I would love to talk about those.
Undefeated so far. Yeah.
What, Naveen put up 10 picks last week?
Yeah, Naveen put up 10 picks. He's muted.
Yeah, sorry guys. So
There he goes.
so we went 15-6-2 combined. Sorry, we went 15-6, 15-6-2 combined. I had 2 pushes, 2 wins, and 6 wins and 2 losses. Josh went 3-0, Andrew 3-1, Roman 1-2, Chase 2-1. 15-6-2 combined. That is awesome. We really did a good job of just presenting locks for you guys. I'm going to show how this shook out last week. So Andy went 3-0 on college football, 0-1 in the NFL. Josh locked up all of his T teams: Tulsa, Tennessee, Texas, 3-0 college football.
That triple threat.
Yep.
That was easy.
Yep. And I went 6-1 in college football, and I pushed twice in NFL. But if you got these on Sunday, these would actually be wins. So, but for the podcast, they were pushes, and I lost Bengals, the squarest bet of NFL season so far. Lost outright here, -8.5.
I don't know. The Titans were pretty square.
I don't think it gets squarer than fucking Bengals -8.5. But
versus New England, yeah.
But yeah, so Roman won with Texas. He lost with his 2 over-unders. And Chase locked up South Carolina versus Kentucky, Auburn.
Yeah.
And he won on the Cowboys. We have many more picks for you this week. Wanted to get to those. But before we did that, Frank's in the pod. But Frank had a fucking awesome week too. I guess it all culminated on Monday. Can you guys see that?
Can now.
Okay, so yeah, he risked $240 to win $4,800. Frank, take us through it. What were you thinking? What made you pick these picks? How'd you lock it up?
Good God Almighty!
It's a heck of a ticket, huh? Looks
Yes,
pretty
sir.
nice.
Yes, sir.
So, Buccaneers, right? Baker Mayfield. If there's any year where he's going to make a run in the playoffs, it's going to be this year. Buccaneers are a really solid team. Cowboys in the over in that game. The Cowboys can prove to score points. I didn't see the Browns really slowing them down much. And I was going to take the money line Cowboys in that game with the over, but went with +2 to be safe. Wasn't a close game, really. Cowboys smoked them. The Rams-Lions, I just thought it was too high. 53.5 points. Like, there's so many unders that hit early on in the season in the NFL. Like, when you have a high total like that, there's a really good shot at the under coming in. It just happens more than not, right?
Yeah, especially for a primetime game like that, Sunday night.
Yeah, and like a
trap.
matchup like Goff Stafford, I just saw that as like a 3 points here, 6 points, 3 points, and that's more or less what happened there. And then Niners Jets. Niners primarily because Aaron Rodgers hasn't played football in 2 years, and he was going to come in slow, sluggish, not as competitive. Brock Purdy wants to win a Super Bowl this year, and you just watched the 49ers just absolutely smoke the Jets. I mean, I didn't see that as being a close game at any point. They were losing at one point at the beginning, but the 49ers offense this year, they're pretty damn impressive. Niners and the Buccaneers offenses I was really impressed with. Same with the Cowboys. So those are teams I'm going to look at this week too. Bucks, Cowboys, Niners, just to put more money in on those 3 and parlay them probably. But yeah, pretty good week. Good start to NFL for me.
Awesome.
Nice ticket. Just mad I didn't put more. You know.
Always
can
a-
You always are. You always are.
When you win, wish I bet more. When you lose, wish I bet less. That's the class.
I wish I bet more when I lose too.
Okay.
It's just one action.
Advanced strategy.
Yes.
So Josh, take us through your pick for your best bet.
Yeah, man, it's a pretty pedestrian week 3 for me, man. Sticking with the most homer bet that you can possibly do. It's Tennessee minus 48.5 against Kent State, and then points over all 62.5.
That should be a parlay. Like
It should-
why?
No, it is. It's definitely parlay that.
Oh, but they won't let you, right? The books.
I don't think they will.
Nah.
I think they will.
Hey,
No, it's
Kent
much
State,
correlation on this.
didn't Kent State lose to St. Francis?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, they're really, really bad, guys. And that's why for me it's like the lock, right? Because I looked at who they lost to and just how bad they are. Like there's like Chattanooga bad, and then there's like you go way down below that, and then there's Kent State. Like I don't even know where you find that level of hell when it comes to a college football team, but you have to dig real deep, and I'm surprised that they're an FBS team, to be honest with
I
you.
was going to tell you, you find it where I went to school, St. Francis.
St. Francis. That's right.
where I went to
And
school.
they lost to
And they
your
beat
alma
Kent
mater.
State. It
Right.
was their first ever win. I think, against, what was it, FCS or something like that?
Yeah.
First ever
So there
in
you
the
go,
school's
man.
history
Yep.
against Kent State.
There you go.
So I think this is a pretty good one. It looks like this is like a 70-0 game or something crazy.
And it's a 7. I think it's like a 7:30 kick. So it's it's a leg game. Everybody's lathered up.
It's gonna
You know.
they're gonna wreck them.
That's right.
It's gonna be a touchdown.
I like noon games for higher scoring games, to be honest.
Kent State, the famous Nick Saban school.
That's right.
Yep. I got a lot of picks again, guys.
Golly.
Wait,
He loves
there should be a
grinding.
limit on this. There should be a limit.
Why?
On
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Dude,
You
Roman,
can
try to
see
win.
you can see who the
Once you start winning, you can
the
bet
risk
more.
takers
Yeah.
are versus the prudent betters.
I mean,
Yeah.
also
there's this
Roman,
many-
if
When
you're
there's this
saying
many,
you want
there's
more
always 3
action,
losses.
one
Dude,
more.
how are you gonna beat Josh? He's 80%. You're fucking 30%.
It's okay. I'm
You're
gonna
gonna pick
go
one
on.
because
I'm gonna
I'm
go
good?
4-1, 5-0, just nice and easy.
Okay.
2 weeks in a row. This is
Okay.
gonna happen.
All right. So my picks are Tulane plus 13.5. They're playing Oklahoma. I was not impressed by Oklahoma at all last week. Possible letdown spot or look forward spot as they're set to take on us in the following week. So maybe overlook Tulane. Tulane plus 13.5. They were crushing all game versus Kansas State, and then just true autism to even lose the game, but they covered last week. Part of a big noon slate for me. Memphis plus 6.5. I will warn you guys that this is very, very square. Memphis is playing Florida State. Everything should tell you if you're sharp to bet Florida State, but I'm not sharp enough to do that yet based on what I've seen. Memphis plus 6.5. Texas minus 35. Georgia minus 24 versus Kentucky. We sweat that whole game out as a group chat. Kentucky is fucking awful.
Cheeks.
This is fucking mega blast. You might want to ask for more balance from books, whatever you do, deposit more, get in there, slam Jordan.
This is a huge punt.
That's right.
Texas State plus 1. Texas State plus 1.5 versus ASU. In the beginning, I was telling Andy's ASU last week, late game last week. They were crushing Mississippi State, and then Mississippi State almost fucking backdoored them. Was scary there. Texas State plus 1.5 versus semi good team at home. Give me Texas State plus 1.5.
I like that. Very, very much like that. I've been on ASU last 2 weeks, and I didn't pick that as my official pod pick, but I would also pick Texas State here. Like picking Arizona State here is probably as square as picking Bengals minus 8.5 at Patriots.
So Texas State, huh?
Yeah.
It's not even about Texas State. It's just that Arizona State, like if Vegas truly respected Arizona State, the spread here would be like 6.5, 9.5. This like 1.5 trap. Like it makes you want to just, call your bookie, increase your maximum, deposit more
Jesus.
money into DraftKings, right?
All
And
of
that's
them.
why you should not bet Arizona State. You go Texas State here. For me, it's a no bet, but Nevin's going the sharp route here. Respectable.
Yeah, you got to have balance in your life. If you're going ultra square and doing Texas, Memphis, and Georgia, you got to have the other side too. Yin and yang, right? I'm also giving you guys
Balance in
NFL,
life, balance in your bookie.
and NFL Dolphins -2.5. Just because they're at home and fucking Bills are a liability. I don't trust them at all. Bucks +7. I'm with Frank here. Steelers -3. I don't think the offense needs to score at all in this game. Weird. What's up?
Who are they playing?
Steelers, I think, are playing. Let me look that up real quick. And my last pick is Eagles. That's also very square. Fucking Steelers are playing the Broncos. You saw how much the Steelers fucked up Kirk Cousins. I think they're gonna fuck up Bo Nix real bad. JJ Watt, three plus sacks. Throw that on there, and then Eagles -6.5. Fucking Falcons are mega frauds. Eagles are gonna trash them. So, just giving you a wide variety of picks. The reason why I'm giving you so many picks is I'm trying to give you one pick per betting slot. So your whole weekend you'll have a pick. Just sweat. All right, let's go to Andy.
Yeah, so I'm kind of staying away from the square college football picks. Honestly, I did pick didn't pick it for the pod, but I did go Tennessee, which was incredibly square last week. But this week I'm just staying away from those. I'm taking Kansas State, and this is gonna be the Thursday night or Friday night. Yeah, it's Friday night. So Friday night at 8 p.m. This is Arizona versus Arizona coming into Kansas State. Arizona is currently the team that has the longest winning streak in all of college football, including the bowl games and such. And again, like very incredibly square. There's some spots that you can get at +7.5. But I'm taking, I'm buying. So this is a -115, but I think this is a typical letdown spot for offense that's put up incredible amount of points. I think Levine actually had the pick on Arizona for the first game of the year for the over, just incredible amount of touchdowns. But I think what we saw last week was that their depth isn't there, especially against quality teams. Like putting up 60, 70 against garbage teams, any team can do that. Even Miami, Notre Dame, Florida State, Tennessee, like any competent, like top 20, top 30 teams can all do that. But really, like when it comes to, like actually being able to move the ball versus like a quality D line, I don't think Arizona has it there. I think we'll see how the public bets this. I think a lot of people are going to be taking the +7.5 here. I honestly think -7.5 is a good pick too. But just to avoid the tilt on Friday night, I'm buying with the -115 and going Kansas State. Similar thing with Washington State. I thought Washington State actually moved the ball pretty well. I know Texas Tech is ass. Same for Portland State, but again, like Washington, and I think we're seeing this incredibly, similar trend across multiple different teams, namely TCU last year or the year before, Washington, Oregon, and now with Michigan. All of these super senior COVID seniors graduating that are like 24, 25-year-olds. And, Michael Penix isn't walking through that door to save this Washington team, not to mention the new coach with DeBoer leaving to Alabama. I don't think Washington is like a, team that should command the respect. And then lastly, Tulsa, Oklahoma. Similar reasoning as Naveen. Was not impressed with Oklahoma, but their defense looks okay. It's just that their O-line is garbage. Their run blocking is not existent. So I just kind of expect that this is gonna be, defensive shit show, but also Oklahoma can't move the ball. So I'm thinking this is like under 47.5, maybe even under 37.5. So if you want something spicy, some plus payouts, that might be worth looking into.
All right, Frank.
Start with college football. So I didn't give you any NFL, it's just college football. But so Oregon's playing Oregon State. Oregon State's at home. Big rivalry game. Both teams are 2-0. Oregon, I just think they're a trending down team. So I just don't see Oregon in the top 10 after this week. I think this might even be one of those huge upset games with a big spread, like an Oregon State plus 550 ML game, just because they're at home. And I don't see it for Oregon. I watched Oregon. Their offense is pretty good. Defense is really not good at all. And I just see Oregon State kind of taking it to them early on at home. I think they might even have a lead at halftime. So I think the 16s are pretty safe there. The other one, Purdue is playing Notre Dame. Purdue 1-0. I think Notre Dame is not going to bounce back this week. I really don't see it. I mean, they lost to a horrible team. Purdue's better than Northern Illinois is. So I see 10 as being just honestly pretty safe. I don't see it as a Purdue loss. I think Purdue might win that game too. So those two I have plus 16 and 10, but I have a little bit where I think both of those teams could easily win the game. And I think was the last one, Texas versus San Antonio. Texas is gonna absolutely wreck that team. Might be 55-3, 60-7 or something. I don't see that as a close game either. I think those three. I think all three of those are they should be pretty safe bets at the end of the day. NFL, I didn't put on there, but Buccaneers, probably just doing Buccaneers, Cowboys, and 49ers again this week for NFL. Those three, Bucks, Cowboys, 49ers. 49ers are pretty damn impressive. I mean, they didn't get slowed down a single drive against the Jets, so 49ers are covering a lot of spreads this year. Probably going to be the team that covers the most in the NFL as far as they're going to be favored every single game. So I think they're going to cover a lot of spreads, 49ers. And outside of that, I'd agree with you guys on some of the other ones. Georgia versus Kentucky. I watched a lot of that South Carolina-Kentucky game, just at the bar. I mean, Georgia is going to wreck that team. I mean, they're going to clean their clock. Probably win by like 40 points.
Clean their what?
Clean their clock. Georgia's going to win by 40, Roman. That's another one that I didn't put in there, but I like that one too.
I'll give it to him. Toss it in there.
Yeah.
Hold on. Naveen, can
Michigan,
I do
you got Michigan on there?
Can I do a live bet real quick, Naveen, before we hop in? So to all of our listeners and viewers and subscribers, real quick emergency live bet here from your boy Josh. Fade all of this motherfucker's picks. That's about to give any of his takes right now. Fade his ass. That's how you're going to make money. That's my live bet update.
Roman is shocked.
Roman, response.
All right, what do you like?
He's done.
I have to go off camera there for a bit. Look.
These are some.
I like all these guys. I don't bet with this whole stats and coaches and that beautiful. I love listening to Josh, but a beautiful, in-depth thing about what the defensive coordinator ate this morning. I don't bet like that. I bet on the college, on the way, on like the story of the college football.
What's your winning percentage right now?
33%.
Look, this is week 2. This is week 2. I'm a shower.
Week 3, dude.
I'm a grower,
You're a grower,
not a shower.
Okay.
I'm a grower, not a shower.
Job's not finished. Roman's
Job-
right. We can't be
Job-
looking at the
Job's
record
not
on week
finished.
3. Yeah,
And look,
Job's not finished.
I was traveling, and again, like Naveen won't let me lie. I usually don't even bet week 1 and 2. That's usually not like I just don't do it because I think it's all bullshit. But and also I'm going very very demure with my picks, very mindful. There's like
Oh my
5
God.
picks, and look at them. They're not your.
We're
They're
looking
not
at
your.
That's
They're
like,
your
look-
Texas minus 35. Yeah, taking Georgia. What'd you guys think? Georgia, fucking Texas. Fucking what else did you take? What else?
Yeah,
Square ass?
locks.
Number one.
Naveen, why did we name this show
by
Lucky
4
Top?
touchdowns. Tennessee minus 48.
Why did we
Listen,
name this show Lucky Top, Naveen? Why did we
we
name
should
it
have
Lucky
named the
Top?
square.
Give
The
it a love.
show
Fucking
Square
locks
Square.
for locks.
This earlier was so square. I mean, my God, I'm at a loss. But look, these are the bespoke picks for the intelligent gentleman better. I won't go back into and I have more. I want to add more because Naveen put 10 picks in there. I'm gonna fire off some more. I'll go
Heaps.
rapid
You're
fire.
gonna
on this.
lose heaps if you listen to this guy. But continue.
Let me write them down.
Okay,
Roman.
Michigan. Okay,
Gotta
Michigan
make
minus
sure.
23. To be honest, I'm doubting this a little
This
bit
is
because I don't know.
balance bet spot.
Dude, you should doubt yourself the whole time.
At 33%, you should stop.
You'd be 67% if you doubted yourself every time.
I find myself in a position that is known as I am
Our
due.
position.
You're due.
I am due. I am due to go to
You
the
finna
ATL.
hit. You
But
finna
listen,
hit a lick, Rome. You finna hit a lick. You do.
Yeah, I'm
All
due.
right.
I'm due. I mean, this is. But look, okay, Michigan minus 23.5. Honestly, I'm just going like by the time slot too. But okay, it's a bit high spread. Honestly, it's a bit high. But you guys heard my take on Michigan. I think. Look, okay. Let me just premise all this real quick. Again, I bet on the storyline of college football. It always happens in a certain way. Like week 3, week 4, basically you either press the teams that are absolutely crushing it, which Tennessee is probably the only one I would say is the case. And how I know this,
I don't know.
you can
Georgia's
go
doing a
on-
good job too.
No, Josh. No, they're not. Because you can go on teamrankings.com and you can look at the team versus ATS, their record versus ATS. Tennessee is 29.8 points,
Yeah,
covering
we always
against their
cover
spread.
most
After
of the time.
that, it's Boston College. You see Boston College on my card right there, right? So
Yeah.
Boston College is playing. Boston College is playing Missouri.
Boston
Now,
College playing Missouri. Yeah, that's going to be an intriguing
but
match.
look at that. Okay,
Missouri
SEC
by 40,
this year-
Roman.
Yeah, Missouri.
No,
by-
SEC teams this year are sus. Just SEC. This is a sus year for the SEC. I think again, this is the story, right? No stats, story. SEC is sus this year. We're gonna fade SEC teams when it makes sense. Boston College, they are right there, second place in terms of their ATS cover so far. So we're taking them. Coastal Carolina. They're playing garbage. Temple, and look, Coastal is one of those they cover machines. Like they always have been. We haven't seen it yet, but I think they're gonna make a statement here against absolutely lowly garbage Temple. It's a very low spread, 20 points. That's low. Utah, they're playing Utah State. Utah State is garbage, and I think for Utah.
The Holy
Coming
War.
back. Well, it's a holy war, but it's also like when you play a video game and your character gets you go up to the next level,
No.
right? Which is Utah went to the Big 12,
Sure.
and now they're going back to the early grounds, right? And you just get to destroy all the NPCs that were there when you were just a little kid. This is basically what it is. They're coming back to just make a beating and a statement out of the
So you're
Utah State.
calling for a culling here with Utah.
Oh yeah, I mean this is going to be
Wow.
they're going to be up by 20 in the first quarter probably. They're Utah is for real this year. I think they are the team to press. So we need to so look, week 3 we need to find teams to press, and we need to find teams to fade, and we need to find teams that everybody's just like been completely wrong on, right?
I've found my team to fade.
Where
I've found my team to fade. Team Roman.
Is that Team Roman?
That's right.
Roman, you know Missouri has outscored their opponents in the first 2 games 89-0. They have not even let up a point yet.
Again, I'm not hearing that. You're saying things that I'm not even listening to.
Yeah, but sort by the ATS there, Naveen.
Yeah, there we go.
That's
ATS.
what
But look,
Roman was talking about. Like, so that last column is basically showing how much has a team beat the spread by, right? So Tennessee, Boston College, Coastal Carolina. This is where Roman was getting the numbers from for your reference.
Hey, look, you can go. Go on to you can click also, you can do really great things. Actually, with this, you can see really great things. You can click on the year, you can go to 2023, right? You can look at the ATS record. There are teams that are gonna go 11-2. There are teams that are gonna go like, you go to 2021 season. You gotta, I think you're gonna have teams that are just gonna keep covering no matter what. This is why we love college football. So you got to find those teams to ride. This is always great to come back here and just be like, okay, which teams have been covering still? Pick the team that is like 3-0 and just keep going with it. 4-0, 5-0, 6-0, 7-0. So this is kind of what I'm talking about, like pressing the team, right? That are cover machines. Coastal tends to be that. So great little resource right there. But again, I don't care. Like, SEC is weak this year, so we have to take into account that SEC this year is sluggish. It's not the SEC of last 3-4 years, at least what we're seeing. So we gotta find opportunities to fade them, and this is what I'm talking about. This is week 3. Week 2, first 2 weeks, you're winning by 60 points. Playing who? Playing who exactly? Yeah, sure. Yeah, you're winning by 60 points. Now you're playing a real team. Right. And I think this is too much inflation in the SEC name today relative to who they're playing. Rice, very demure pick. Very, very bespoke. I recommend it. I want to throw in more. Since Naveen put up so many. I want to grab Iowa because they're playing awful Troy. And Iowa has actually started putting up points on offense. So
What's
if they
spread,
can score,
what's the spread?
I don't fucking know. Whatever it is, cover it. Let me see. Hold on a second. I have it right here. Iowa
Roman
22. It's 22. It's not a big spread. So Iowa, they can put up points. We all know Iowa is a well-coached team. We all know they have strong defensive culture. Take them. I want to grab.
With your wedding coming up, I see you're trying to get that honorary Asian status, pressing on the rice. Like.
Oh my god.
Yeah, give me Rice. Give me Rice against 0-2 Houston. Look, Rice last week. Back to Frank's 69-7. I mean, shit. Take them. I mean, Texas Southern. I mean, come on. What is that better than Houston? It's probably the same thing. Take Rice, home game. It's all around here. Iowa. I love Illinois. Central Michigan is always the worst team in Michigan. They lost to Florida International. Florida International is a community college level school. 52-16 they lost last week. So take them against really, rising Illinois. And then, if you guys really want to go extra spicy, Woke Forest. Fade Ole Miss. Fade this bullshit number 5 ranking. Yeah.
Fade Ole Miss.
Take them.
Fade Ole Miss. Fucking mind, Roman.
We let you talk for too long, Roman.
Fade Ole Miss.
I kind of get what Roman's
Missouri,
getting at,
Fade
though.
Ole
With
Miss.
so many SEC
5,
teams
5.
in the top 5, top 10, like the betting odds are gonna reflect that, right? All the square picks.
Lane Kiffin is not gonna let that happen.
Woke
Lane-
Forest is the upset
Saint
team.
Lane ain't
That's
gonna
always
let-
the upset team.
No, bro.
They are. They just are. Woke
Dave-
Forest
Dave
always.
Clawson-
That's
Dave
why they're
Claw-
woke Forest.
No,
They woke you from your squareness.
no.
When you were
Dave
super
Clawson.
square.
Dave Clawson's terrible offense is not going to be able to cover against Lane. It's just not going to happen.
When you are so square, not you, Josh, but when someone is so square, the one way to wake up from your squareness is woke Forest. They grab you by your shirt, they shake you real good, and you win by 1 touchdown, 2 touchdowns. That's probably.
I mean,
that's probably.
I can kind of see it.
Have you
It's
been
like
watching any ACC football this year outside of Miami?
It doesn't matter. It's just the story of college football. It just doesn't matter
Sure.
sometimes.
Well,
Like-
let's
like-
just not watch.
No,
the
but
play on
look,
the field.
look,
That
look,
shit
look.
don't matter. You're right.
No. Tennis, no, of course not. No, but of course not. Every year it's like this. Every year it's like this. There are teams that are just gonna dominate. So okay. So like Tennessee's kind of like Michigan of last year. Like you guys just like dominating the whole storyline behind you. Like everything is like coming to. Well, I don't want to jinx all of this, so I'm sorry if I am. But all of it is kind of coming together, and it's just like looks like a Michigan like type of like season. That happens. That happens to some teams. Some teams come in like Bama or Georgia from years past to just come in juggernauts,
Right.
But every
I mean,
year,
incredibly hard for any team to go like 12-0 versus the spread, right? So
yeah,
at some point
but-
they're gonna not cover the spread.
yeah. Let's take a look at Ole Miss, like last 3-4 years. I mean, what they haven't
Yeah, fucking
they
take a
haven't
look at
covered
it.
against.
Look at Jackson Dart, man. He's just slinging that shit everywhere, dude. They're putting up big time points.
This
They're
is
a
the
good
week.
team,
This is the
bro.
week. This is
Yeah.
the week to fade us. And then look, Colorado State money line. I think that's the lock of the locky top. Colorado State money line. Everybody should watch that game. If there's gonna be fighting,
Fade
if
round.
there's gonna be like chain yanking, like someone's gonna grab.
Yeah, I would love
Deion
to see some
Sanders'
chain.
chain and just drag him.
I
on
would
the floor.
I would pay top dollar to see some motherfuckers get their chains yanked off. That would be great.
Oh yeah, I mean,
That's
and
my
I think
favorite
that might be
part.
happening.
Back old
That might
school
be
NFL games between heated rivals, some DBs and some wide receivers going 1-on-1 yanking chains. That was my shit. Boy.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's me. You guys look. Week 3, week 4, week 5, week 7. You're always gonna get the same thing from me. You're gonna get the college football like story betting. Like I see some story developing. I see patterns that repeat themselves year over year. Trap games. Teams walk in and lose to teams they should have no business losing to. And you can get so bogged down in the stats, like, it's because of this, because of that, because of that. It's college football. It's poetry. It's just storytelling, and that's what I'm looking at.
Okay, guys, we covered a bunch here. We did a bunch of picks. We reviewed last week. Tennessee, big time lock. We saw the records. Hopefully, some of us will improve. Others hope to keep the same or better. Got locks from everybody this week. Just great show. I just think that we went 70% last week, guys. So if you're interested in winning,
Fade my picks.
That's right.
That's
right.
right.
That's right, man.
Just keep locking up.
Yeah, and I know we don't want to spend a lot of time on the big game. I know we're trying to skip to the end, but I think a really good one this week to look out for is Bama, Wisconsin. I think that's going to be a really intriguing matchup.
Wisconsin, huge lock. Thanks. Forgot about that one.
So, first true road test for the SussEC according to Roman. So
SussEC. I should coin that now. Let's put it out there.
SussEC.
There you go.
SussEC. Yeah, SussEC. I mean,
SussEC.
it just is. I mean, we've seen.
All right,
SussEC.
hey guys, make a fucking hat. Let's do it. SussEC.
SussEC.
Yeah.
SussEC.
Make the hat. Put it in the font. Put it in the SEC font. SussEC.
Put SEC font. SussEC.
All right. Well,
Except Tennessee. SussEC except Tennessee.
Yeah, don't be jinxing us. By the way, we don't need anything to derail what we got going on right now. It is setting up to be a perfect season. It is setting up to be a perfect season here on Locky Top Sports. So I do appreciate the crew coming in tonight, doing the thing that we love to do every week. We kind of have an off week this week with Kent State, but we'll be ramping up. Me and Andrew will be in attendance in a couple weeks at Oklahoma. So if anybody's seeing this, please drop us a comment. Like, subscribe while you're there, but DM us, hit us up on YouTube or our socials. Let us know if you're doing a tailgate. We'd like to come by and see you. We're going to keep it as lit as possible because it's a late kickoff, man. So it's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of good football.
Finally,
a lot of good
night game.
Yeah, a lot of good football to come. A lot of great picks in here, except Romans. We've covered that ad nauseum. But for Josh, Frank, the Iceman, Andrew, Kim, the analytical guru, Michigan man, Rome, and the GOAT of all hosts, Naveen. This is Like Top Sports. We love you. Go Big Orange. We'll see you next week.